because we're coming close to Halloween, I decided I'm going to show you how we make our Colcannon in this part of Wexford. I got my recipe from my mother, and my own father's mother. She made it the exact same way, and I've been recording of her talking about her own mother, and she made it in the same way. So this recipe, I'm sure, will step back to around the mid 1800s. It's a traditional recipe that you find here in Wexford. I found that you don't get Colcannon in some parts of the country at all. It goes by different names, but here it was always put on Halloween night, and a big pot was made. And just to show you, that was the big pot that people would have made it in years ago, give or take maybe a smaller one if they had it. And that would have been cooked over the open fire on Halloween night, and it would have been mashed up or pounded with a yoke like this called a pounder. And I kind of when I think of people these days, they're always talking about cooking it on 5 rings and preheating stuff in the oven. That wasn't the case, because all people would have had, the people who would have made it and ate it, was an open fire. In my mother and grandmother's case, an open fire and a one pot job, and then you would mash it up then like that with your pounder or a bottle or whatever you had, right? So I use this saucepan. It's actually an old saucepan I got from my mother, and that's my saucepan I always use for Colcannon. So to make Colcannon, this is what you need to make the proper traditional Wexford Colcannon. You need spuds, right? We're using rooster spuds. I think around 9 or 10. It'll depend on where it'll fill up in the pot. It'll all depend on the pot, right? We use cabbage. We don't use kale in Wexford. Kale wasn't used. We use just a green cabbage like this. And you'd always hang on to the outer leaves as well. That's used at the end for steam, and I'll show you that. So you'd use nearly most of the head of that, I'd say. You'd also used onions, very simple, just garden onions this time of year. We didn't have scallions in late November in Wexford, regardless of what the Colcannon song says. So about 3 onions, right? And then the secret ingredient to a Wexford Colcannon, it's always been parsnip, right? And some people, I use about 3 kind of relatively small kind of ones here, but always people would slip in a bit of parsnip into their Colcannon. Some with carrot, and some people would put turnip in, but I found by and large, when I'm around people, talking to people, that's what they would use. And as I said to you, it's a very simple job. It's a one pot job. It's all slowly boiled, or slowly steamed, actually is the word I should stress. Steamed, slowly steamed here. And then it'll be ready shortly in about 40 minutes. But to me, it's the distinctive smell of a Halloween night here in Wexford. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to start preparing the vegetables, and then I'm going to come back and show you how you put it all together. So you got your parsnips, your onions, your spuds, your cabbage, and you kept the outer cabbage leaves, right? And basically I'm using this pot. It's a pot that I have here. Into where mother gave it to me. So what you need to do to start off, throw in your onions. About 3 onions. Now it'll depend on the size of the pot you have as well, what kind of way you want to make it, but this is for my pot. Parsnips in next. So you layer the stuff up. Onions in the bottom first, right? And then you get your cabbage and literally just dump it in, right? Dump in the cabbage. Now, as I said to you, I use about 3/4 of a head, about that much, probably less loads. The guinea pig and the rabbit will eat rest of that now. So then the rest of it then is your spuds. So literally cut your spuds roughly around the same kind of size, right? I suppose people years ago would have been using Carrots Pinks or whatever was local spuds they would have had. But literally you just pile them in here like that. And if you can see there, I'm literally just piling them in. And again, this will depend on the size of your pot. Sometimes I find when I get up to the top, I kind of say, Jesus, I could add another spud there. But do you know what? I have it fairly right there now as it is. See that? This is based on me making in this pot for years. And once you have that done, right, it's literally, if you want to throw an extra few little bits of old cabbage there on top just to have it for good look, rather than wasting them, there's a bit of room there, throw them in, right? And what you do then is you literally just get a drop of water. Now, do not go boiling them. That's all you need, because you'll need to steam them, right? But half a pint. So throw that in, literally just to cover the bottom of the pot, right? And that, when it's cooking up nice and slow with the onions, that'll steam them, right? And then, this is what you need. This is what was used with the skillet pots years ago. Is you get the outer cabbage leaves, and you use the cabbage leaves to steam them. Now again, you can, at the end of it, you'll have lovely steamed cabbage leaves if you want them. And you can give them to the rabbit if you want to. And you just do that, right? And push it down. And there's your Colcannon, right? One simple pot. And get your ring, and this will take about 40 minutes. So what you do is you get it boiled off at the start, get it boiled up the way you normally boil spuds, and then just turn it down and simmer it really, really slow. Slow and slow, slow, down low and slow. And I'm going to leave that for a couple of minutes until I hear it boiling, then turn it right down and walk away, come back 40-45 minutes later on. So my 45 minutes is actually took much longer. So the reason how you know is because you have to wait for the spuds to be right. So you can see down there, look, the spuds are nice and floury. Get the fork through them like that, okay? And that's how you know it's ready to go. So what you need to do then is literally there will be a drop of water at the bottom, so you just strain it. So you get your spuds, your cabbage leaves, and you strain your spuds, right? It'll be only a small drop of water, but you do want to get rid of it all the same. And then sometimes I put it back in the heat, just again for another minute. Put it back in the heat just to basically just to dry them out another tiny bit, not too long now, right? Normally if you're doing like mashed spuds, something like that, right? So you're ready to go then. And just when I have you there, right? Just when they're kind of drying off a little tiny bit, right? One thing that what you need now for the rest of it, if you come closer here, Eppie, and I'll show you, right? You need butter, loads of it, right? Don't be shy in the butter. You need salt, and you need white pepper, not black pepper, white pepper. And then one of the things that we used to always get when we were younger was my mother used to always get a bit of greaseproof paper, and you'd put a coin in it. And we used to call it money dinner as children, and that would always be slipped in. Now some people would put a coin into it as well, and I know people in Dublin do this as well. We'd always put money into Colcannon, the exact same way you'd put money or a ring or something into a barn brack as well. So literally what you do then is literally take off your outer cabbage leaves. Some people will keep these, I don't, right? And you just mash them up, right? You just mash up your spuds then. So you get that, and that's what it looks like, look. Very simple, very, very dry. And just keep piling in the butter. So just keep piling your butter. Some people would actually warm the butter before they put it in, and you'd have it slightly softer and maybe almost melted, right? It's just like mashed spuds now, lads, that's all it is. And literally get your masher or your pounder and just mash it all up. No more to it than that. So if you want to look in here, Eppie, you can see me doing this. Eppie's doing the camera here for me today, by the way. And it's literally just like mashed spuds, right? And you can see lovely floury spuds, right? And again, lads, I say to myself, it's Halloween, and do not be shy of the butter, right? So get the butter all mashed in, right? Now, get all that kind of melting all up there, right? And don't forget as well, just get your salt in. Come here, don't be afraid, whatever, but too much, put salt either. And you need to put more into it as you go along, and a good bit of white pepper, right? Right, white pepper, and mash it all up. Add more if it needs, right? And when we'd have that now, I can smell the white pepper, right? The smell of the white pepper is gorgeous in there, right? Now some people would also chop up this and throw it in as well if you wanted it, but we don't tend to do that, right? And just mash it up. And it's a really simple thing. It's literally like mashed spuds. As I said, some people would have that maybe with a boiled egg or a rasher. I tend not to, I'll be honest with you. I kind of find that the other flavours take from it. So I would just have Colcannon by itself with butter on it. Now I want to just taste and see what it's like now first. Perfect. Another tiny bit of white pepper, right? Throw it in like that. And there it is. Slightly dry, not too wet. It's not meant to be too wet, right? I think sloppy old wet Colcannon. It's like mashed spuds, really, right? And then if you were giving that to a child, you literally take out a spoon. And there's nothing fancy about this dish, lads. It's a simple poor man's country food, right? And what you can do then as well, if you want to especially for a child, you just slip in and make sure it's wrapped up right. Unfortunately, I find these days that young ones are not as interested in the money. It has to be paper money, or a card. And there you have it. There's a very, very simple Colcannon, right? The way we would have had it as children. And then to top it all off, if you want to, right, is literally get a little bit of butter. Don't mind me now, lads. This is real life. And put a little butter on top. Now, someone described that to me years ago. It was like a volcano, and as a child you'd love it. Now, to be fair, he didn't put none of it in there now, to be honest with you. And that's it, a real simple Colcannon. And you see the lovely, all the butter melting. And so it's probably even a bit too hot now as it is. But that is, to me, the smell and the taste of Halloween in County Wexford. Gorgeous, lads. Honest to God, lovely. So there you are now. Go off and make yours.